Yeah, the final whistle has gone in Foxborough, and it means that New England Patriots in the NFL, after 7 post-Tom Brady years in the wilderness, are back into the conference final. The semi-finals effectively for the Super Bowl. They'll play Denver, having beaten the Houston Texans by 28 points to 16. Now, the playoffs continue, and the last game of this round, the quarterfinals, have started. And we've got another live game for you over on TalkSport 2, and you can listen to this game, say the final game, where the LA Rams go to the Chicago Bears. It's right now over on TalkSport 2. That's live American football, live NFL on TalkSport 2 right now. Kevin, with events in Morocco and elsewhere, we haven't got much time to look at the Europa League and the draw for the conference. Let's just look at one or two of these games in the Europa League that are coming up. Aston Villa, the coach sounded a bit down after their home defeat to Everton today, and I can understand that. But they've got a really tough tie now away to Fenerbahce.
It is a tough tie. They've done well. They've won 5 out of 6 in this league phase. The only one they didn't win was that defeated go-ahead Eagles, which I think we didn't see coming. But they've generally been very good in the competition. But this is a test because Fenerbahce, I'm fascinated by them because, of course, under Jose Mourinho, they weren't able to get as close to Galatasaray as they wanted. Domenico Tedesco, I think, had a really underwhelming spell with Belgium, with the national team. Very hit and miss. And this is a chance for him to really restore his reputation. And I think with him, you do wonder if there's an element of Emperor's New Clothes, that he looks the part, he says all the right things, but in terms of tangible success, he's still yet to deliver what I think was promised. And so I think if he can do that with Fenerbahce, if he could actually win the Turkish Super League, or he could go deep in this competition, I think then we'll start to see this incredible wunderkind that was promised many years ago when he finished above Julian Nagelsmann in their coaching class together.
Nottingham Forest have got other fish to fry just now, as a team from East London have closed the gap to them at the bottom of the Premier League. They go to Portugal to take on a Braga team that are doing bit by bit and year by year, closing in on and turning the big 3 in Portugal into a big 4.
Yeah, and Braga have done this for a while. I mean, you think how much European experience they have, but they're still very up and down, as you would expect. And if you look at their recent performances in cup competitions in Portugal, that kind of underlines that, because they knocked out Jose Mourinho's Benfica, which is why Mourinho made his players sleep at the training ground and put them in Retiro instead of actually them able to go home. But then they lost to third-tier opposition in the Portuguese Cup. So in the League Cup they went through, but they ended up losing the final to Vitória Guimarães. And then in the actual Portuguese Cup went out to a third-tier side. So you never quite know what you're going to get. Forest, I think, I get what you're saying, Danny, about, you know, the main focus is the Premier League. And of course,
it has to be for them.
Of course. But I think they've got a big enough squad. You know, they really should have a big enough squad to still be able to get results in this competition. They went to Utrecht. They managed to get a win. That was a decent performance. And so I do think they've got every chance of being able to pick up a result here.
As far as the conference goes, no action this week, but we've had the draw for the round of 16. And Crystal Palace, the favourites, despite the turmoil at the club for the tournament, have drawn Zrinjski Mostar. The Bosnian side. I can't pretend I know much about Zrinjski. But the issue here, Kevin, is I wanted you to talk to me about Oliver Glasner, because I think you're of the opinion that what we're seeing at Crystal Palace is kind of part of a pattern with Oliver.
It absolutely is. He is a guy that's incredibly ambitious, and that's a very positive thing. If you listen to the way Steve Parish has talked about Glasner at Palace, he believes Palace should be able to challenge for Europe, challenge for trophies, which they've done. They've won the FA Cup, they've won the Community Shield. But with that comes demands and a willingness to push the guys above him to deliver. And if you go back to his time at Wolfsburg, They qualified for the Champions League, and people didn't expect that. And he had been publicly demanding Jörg Schmadtke, the sporting director then, to deliver better players. He wanted a stronger squad. And when that didn't come to fruition, he was happy to say so publicly. And in the end, he left to join Eintracht Frankfurt. He got to Frankfurt, he won the Europa League, he got them to a cup final. But again, he got frustrated. He felt the club wasn't ambitious enough, wasn't pushing hard enough. There was a very famous press conference that he gave when he talked about Makoto Hasebe, who was a Japanese, veteran Japanese defender. He was 39, I think, at the time. And he said, look, we're having to push him incredibly hard, and it's not good. We're at the bare bones. This is outrageous. And so in the end, that relationship with Frankfurt soured. He was allowed to stay, and he was allowed to stay until the end of the season to lead them in the cup final. But it had been long agreed that he would part company with the club that summer. So, I happen to think it's a positive thing, but I think you need to know how to handle him because he is relentlessly demanding and ambitious, and that could be a very good thing. But for the guys above him, it's going to be pretty loud.
Where do you think his next stop might be? Whether he stays at Palace for the rest of the season, which I can't see how he can now after that outburst that he did about the transfer of Mark Gahey. Where next for Oliver Glasner, do you think, Kevin? And I won't hold to this, obviously.
No, well, it was put to me recently that, could he return to German football? And I thought about it and thought the reason, the landing spot right now is go back to Frankfurt. I don't see that happening because he's already won the Europa League with them. He got them to a cup final. They are ambitious. They do have money and they do have some great young players. But does he want to go back there, having had the success he's had in England? Then you look elsewhere in Germany. Dortmund have got Kovac. Kompany's happy at Bayern. Glasner was one of the coaches they considered before turning to Kompany, of course. And you look at other clubs and there isn't really anywhere to go. Leipzig looked at him in the summer, but they turned to Oliveira and they're happy with him. Leverkusen have got Kasper Hjulman, but they were interested in Glasner in the summer as well. So all of those jobs that would have been available in the summer no longer are. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's in the running for the Manchester United job, but actually I think that could be disastrous because you think of the ineptitude at the top of that football club.
Yeah.
That would infuriate him no end.
Have they decided who's going to be the Germany manager after the World Cup, Kevin?
No. I mean, Julian Nagelsmann, in theory, has a contract until 2028. And so he could carry on until the Euros in 2028. In theory, there is plenty of interest in bringing him back into the club game. Of course, Glasner is an Austrian. So
that would be a problem, would it?
Where I think it would. I think it would politically. I think that would be seen as a failure in Germany, I think, if they were to hire. I mean, they're still baffled about the Thomas Tuchel thing, I think. I think there's an element of pride about it, to a certain extent, that a top German coach has been given the England job. But I think there's an uneasiness about it as well. And they think, well, why would England do that? We'd never do that. We'd never bring an English guy in to coach our national team. So I think there would be a lot of people in German football that would be very queasy about hiring an Austrian in that particular role.
Just a thought. Now, I said at the start of the show that I was not going to mention a certain club from East London, given their recent and thoroughly undeserved victory over Tottenham Hotspur. And so far, we've had to mention them on 5 different occasions.
Yes.
Kevin, it is with astonishment that I've just looked up Zrinski Mostar, who are going to play Crystal Palace in the next round of the Conference League. Guess who their manager is? Former West Ham star Igor Stimac.
Oh, yes.
You couldn't make this up, could you?
That's 6 times now, isn't it? You've had 6 to mention
times.
West Ham.
I'm going to call him Derby County's Igor Stimac. That's what I'm doing.
I think that's wise.
That's what I'm going to do. Kevin will take you around all the other leagues, all the major leagues in Europe in just a few seconds' time. It's been great fun having Kevin back, and he will be with us again next week here on Trans Europe Express, where we're heading now towards the finishing line. Don't forget, we've got great stuff for you. I'll tell you about that in a few minutes' time. Still here on TalkSport and over on TalkSport 2. You can hear the final game in this round of the NFL, where the LA Rams have just kicked off against the Chicago Bears.